Rejuvenate, restore, refresh, and heal. At Fantuzzo Acupuncture, we seek to help achieve effective health and wellness in an elegant spa-like atmosphere. Fantuzzo Acupuncture specializes in traditional acupuncture, cosmetic anti-aging acupuncture, acupressure, cupping, CBD topical creams, and more. Approach healthcare holistically. Visit FantuzzoAcupuncture.com to book online today. FantuzzoAcupuncture.com.
From attic to basement, we're here for you. It's quality service in all we do. Call Taylor. 500 help.
That's right. Taylor 500 Help, Kimberly's Revolution. They are a sponsor of our show. They make sure that we here in the We the People podcast network room are nice and cool and refreshed.
66 degrees.
What is it, Tom?
66 degrees.
That's right. That's the way we like it, because Taylor Heating and Plumbing provides us with this brand new air conditioning system, and they can do the same for you. They are fantastic. They came over a day, kind of inspected what we needed, came over the next day and installed. And now we are fresh as a daisy on this hot, hot day in Rochester, and they can do it for you. Just call 500 Help. That's 500 Help. Taylor does everything: duct cleaning, air conditioning, heating, plumbing, home energy, and they have comprehensive financing plans, which is always good news for people that, you know, have done a lot of cash to spare. So Taylor 500 Help since 1947. And if you want your lawn to look spectacular, or maybe you got a giant tree you want to cut down, Precision Lawn and Garden. They're up there in Webster, 195 North Avenue in Webster. Open weekdays 8 to 5 and Saturday 9 to noon. Precision Lawn and Garden has been providing Rochester and the surrounding areas professional sales, service, and parts since 1969. You want the big daddy of all lawn mowers? You want a push mower? Whatever you need. You want a chainsaw? They have it at Precision Lawn and Garden. New models, on sale models, still Cub Cadet, Ferris, and Toro. It's Precision Lawn and Garden, 195 North Avenue in Webster. Kimberly and Justin will set you up. And I just got word they are back for another round of advertising on Kimberly's Revolution on the We the People podcast network. So we like that. And if you want your driveway to look amazing, call Brian at Express Sealers, because nothing makes your curb appeal look nicer than a freshly sealed driveway. It always looks amazing. Call Express Sealers, not a fly-by-night company, not one of those door knockers. They use thick, professional, hand-applied commercial-grade seal coat. Call 645-2010. That's 645-2010. They're the best. And, of course, they're advertising here, so you know that they are the best.
Live from the We the People broadcast studio in hot and humid Irondequoit, New York.
Humid.
Here's Kimberly.
Kimberly's Revolution. How is everyone? Happy Tuesday.
Nice and cool.
Yeah. I'm so refreshed. I'm not sweating at all. You know, women don't sweat. We glow. Right, ladies? We don't sweat.
We'll go with that.
We don't.
Sure.
Listen, I sweat like a pig. I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, but in here with the Taylor brand new air conditioning that we've had for a couple of weeks now, we've been utilizing that son of a gun.
It was well worth the 12 grand.
It was. Well, no ductwork. We have to do the ductwork. But yes. Hey, Just Tom Morgan is here. We the People Podcast Network, Kimberly's Revolution Daily Show. Jose Pio's show last night with Marcus Williams was fantastic.
Yes.
So Marcus Williams, we hear, may be having a podcast. We're
very excited about those two.
He is a Republican. He has a lot of thoughts on critical race theory, and he expressed those last night. And I like Marcus Williams. I'm friends with him on the Twitter sphere, right? Is that what we call it?
Sure,
I don't know.
The blue bird.
Yeah, the blue bird. So Jose Pio's show, Politically Correcting with Jose Pio, was a great show yesterday. We the People Podcast Network, of course, brought to you by Rock Vox Productions in Bushnell's Basin. If you have a company or you know some people that you'd like to get together and you have some things to say and you just want to have fun for maybe an hour a week, Fitz over at Rock Vox Productions can put together a podcast for you. He does all the work. He does it all for you. He's got the studio space for it. So reach out to Fix at Rock Vox Productions. That's ROCVOX.com, I believe. Right, Austin?
Yes, I think so.
And Austin joins us. He's producing the show. We have guests today in the studio.
Yeah, one quick point here. If you watch Kimberly's Revolution,
and of course you do,
on Facebook, or YouTube through the Kimberly's Revolution pages, make sure you go to the We the People Podcast Network and follow both the YouTube page there and the Facebook page. Even though you may not watch the show on those network platforms, we still need the followers. So
very good.
So please sign up.
We have Randy Cimino of Gates to Recovery. He is in the studio with us this morning. Hey,
hi, Kimberly, how are you?
It has been a long time since I talked to you, Randy Cimino.
Yes, I was sorry to see you go.
Yeah, thank you. I was sorry to see me go as well. But you know what? I didn't go far. Tom wasn't.
No, I wasn't sorry at all.
Tom reached out and said, "Hey, let's do a podcast. Let's sell some houses." And I'm like, let's do all those things.
Sure.
So the housing market is rocking right now. Do you need to buy a house? Because I can help you do that.
I've already done my thing with the house.
You've already, but you're getting married, right, Randy Cimino?
I am.
So I want to talk a little bit, and I think we have another guest coming, right? He is fashionably late.
Yes, he should be here any second.
And that is Gates Police Chief Jim Van Bretterode. Gates Police Chief Jim Van Bretterode is going to join us on the show. It has also been a year since I have talked to him, but I am glad that he is going to be here. It is going to be an interesting show. Certainly, I can tell you that. So, Randy Cimino, Gates to Recovery. We brought you on because, and in fact, I don't think any news media in town is covering this story. But we knew that there were 3 ODs over the weekend, right? We know that there were 3 OD deaths.
There was 5.
And that's where I'm going with that. Did you know there were actually 5?
I did not know.
You know why you didn't know that?
Because you didn't tell me?
Because I'm telling you now.
Oh,
I'm telling you.
I get all my news from you, Kimberly.
And you know why I'm telling you that now? And I'm telling everyone who listens to Kimberly's Revolution is because the regular media didn't tell you that there were 5 ODs from the same bad batch of whatever kind of drugs that they were shooting up over the weekend.
There was several near fatal overdoses as well.
There were.
There was the death toll is 5 right now.
The death toll is 5 for the bad batch of drugs.
Right.
Regular media doesn't tell you that because it's not sexy enough. There weren't like 6 kids in a house that all don't have mommies and daddies anymore. You know, there were 2 other ODs of fatals that you know, it's not really sexy enough to tell you because they probably died by themselves in some back alley. I don't know, but it wasn't a good enough story for the media. It didn't, pull on the heartstrings enough for them to cover it. So I am telling you that in addition to the 3 people that died on Grand Avenue, there were 2 other people and a bunch of near fatals.
Yeah.
So,
in the town of Greece, by the way, the other 2.
In the town of Greece,
yes,
which is where I reside,
right,
in the town of Greece. But here's the thing:
so
addiction.
Disturbing.
It is disturbing.
So disturbing.
Addiction is everywhere.
Addiction
just doesn't happen in the inner city. Addiction happens in your little suburban, upper crust neighborhood. It happens in Gates. It happens in Greece. It happens in Pittsburgh.
Nothing happens in Chila.
Oh yeah,
that's good to know. I live in Chila.
I think it does. I think it does.
No.
So, Missy is listening to us while she's in the pool. That is very nice.
All right.
And that is very nice. So, anyway, Randy, why don't you give Kimberly's Revolution Patriots a little of your background? Because you have had some experience with addiction.
I have.
And Randy has also had, some experience with law enforcement, as in not being on the right side of law enforcement.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I have been arrested about 149 times. I have 9 felony convictions. I was a drug addict for about 23 years. And
what kind of drugs?
I was a cokehead myself.
Yeah.
I like the coke, but not that it matters, because you know what? $1,000 a day is still $1,000 a day.
right.
So,
exactly. No, were you working? Were you working? What were you
my
doing?
job full time was stealing enough money to get high for as long as I could, nonstop, 24 hours a day. That's what I did.
And when did it start? How old are you now?
I am 60 now.
You're 60 now.
I started in my mid 20s. It was a back and forth thing, Kimberly. I'd go out for months at a time, and of course be chased by the police, finally get arrested. Van Bretterode was the biggest pain in the rear end that I've ever had. He followed me and chased me and arrested me a good number of times.
Right.
Sandra Dorley, I remember when she first started as a ADA, she convicted me a ton of times.
Right. How many times did you maybe not go along with what the police advised you to do, and maybe got a beat down or 2?
Several. Well, at least a half a dozen times.
Right. So if you comply and you do what police say, what happens?
Well, they stop. That's the thing. That's one of the things that kills me. Is that,
shocking.
You hear over and over. If anybody's watched Cops or anything, stop resisting. Right. So there's your chance after chance after chance to stop. And when you don't, then they continue until you stop. So I mean, they're not going to stop. They can't.
Right,
so.
right. They have to until you subdue. Right. So I mean, all in all, over the years, how much money do you think you blew on drugs?
Millions. I've owned different businesses. I have restaurants, pizza shops, whatever.
How many hearts did you break?
Well,
I mean, you had to have friends that
family and friends. That's
right.
the thing. Now the ones that lived this long, I've made up to.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, every one of them I've been able to make up to.
And it's tough, right? I mean,
it's very tough.
It's a tough road.
I'm going on 9 years. With my recovery.
Congratulations.
I'm so excited.
It's a blessing.
And I think I've known you about that long, right?
You have. I had fun wrestling around with you on the radio a few times.
Wait
a minute. I got to get that image out of my head.
Yeah. He would call angry at me. Kimberly.
I may not be able to sleep tonight.
You don't understand the addict. And I said, I don't want to understand the addict.
That's the problem.
but you have to try to understand the addict, because I think, I mean, and I don't want to, to stop your story, but I think that the violence that we're seeing today is all drug driven. Would you agree?
I would agree that it's directly connected. Yes.
Yeah. But it was hard for you. I mean, you had to stop. You got clean. You've been clean for 9 years. And then you had to make it up for the people that you victimized over the years.
That's the tough part, that I spend my time with Gates of Recovery trying to give back what I've taken. It's almost like an impossible task. Mm-hmm. But, it's like this, man. I sit here and watch what they're doing to the police. I sat there and I don't know if I could even explain how enraged I was when people were throwing ice bottles and burning police cars, because, man, you know what? It all boiled down to this. All them times I got arrested, at the end of the arrest, I'm in the car and they just talk to you, man, and they say, what are you doing? What are you doing? You don't have to, it don't have to be like this. You're going to have another chance in a few months to, you can do this.
Right.
And, there's been times where I was starving, I was homeless, and they would take me and get me a sandwich before they brought me to the jail. You know what I mean? Todd Baxter was one of them. Jim's another one. There's so many officers that have done that. And I was like, the other day when the police officer did that post about the kids in the house.
I've got that. Death. Yeah, okay. I want to talk about that.
Okay, Rachel Barnhart. Okay.
Oh,
don't get me started with her.
Oh, well, I jumped all over that yesterday.
Well, she's my definition of a walking scumbag right there. Okay, I know addicts that wouldn't act as bad as her. That was the worst thing she could have done. And it's all because I believe. That's Spectrum calling me. I believe it's because she got shot in the head with the beanbag or whatever when she wouldn't get out of the way.
Knock some sense out of her.
Had she not been throwing bottles at the police, maybe she wouldn't have got shot. But
that's true.
That's okay. But all she's done since she's been around is bash the police. Mm-hmm. And who's the first person she called when she has a problem? Okay, the police. They want to defund the police. Okay. And then when somebody does something, drive through a crowd, call the police. And then when the police get there, they say, well, we can give them a ticket, but we can't arrest them. Whose fault is that?
Right.
Just saying.
I know. Right. Exactly. So what I wanted to get into you with, so what's going on with, we had 3 OD in one house, right?
Yep.
Left 6 little babies. I think from the age of 10 on down.
Right. It happened to be a birthday party that they were at. By the way,
I'm sorry.
The function that everyone was at with the 6 kids and the 3 adults was the beginning of a birthday party.
Oh my God.
Okay. So now you've got kids being taken away by foster care on their birthday, and you've got no one that cares. Okay. First of all, we didn't hear anything from the mayor. We didn't hear anything from the county executive. We didn't hear anything from that, whatever it is they call a chief of police for the city. Okay. We heard nothing from Mendoza. We heard nothing from anybody. But if 3 people died from a really bad cold, he would have been up there saying, cover your face.
Right. Right. I know. And I know you're angry about this. So it's what? It's Saturday. It is
Saturday.
There are 3 people in a house on Grand Avenue. There are 6 kids at the home. What kind of drugs do you know what they are?
Well, I would only see, that was the conversation that I had. A white powder. That's what they say. Okay. So I have to assume syringe, white powder, heroin. Okay. Heroin being fentanyl, because that's what probably killed them. It could be cocaine, maybe laced with fentanyl. Who knows?
Who knows what you're getting, right? In those baggies.
And a lot of times they're saying a clear baggie. Okay. And because it's a clear baggie, which I doubt it was, I'm going to tell you what I think it was, one of the little paper bags that were stamped, but they're not telling us what it is, so we can keep everybody away from it. Okay. That was one of the things
Why would you do that, Randy?
Well, they say that the addicts will run towards it. Okay. And 50% of my mind tells me that's very possible, but run towards it or not without a fair warning. Okay. Let's just give the warning shot and save somebody's life.
Right, exactly. I mean, but here's the thing that people will argue with you about. They know that the drugs could kill them no matter what the drug, right?
I mean, agree.
You're taking a chance every time you do the drugs. But again, and I said this yesterday that addiction is the number one, the addict's goal in life is to chase that high, right?
Exactly.
That is the number one important thing in their life, not obviously the 6 kids, not whose ever birthday.
Okay. Let's look at why they're chasing it. Okay, so every story is different, but we're gonna look at why, because if we don't get to why, we won't get to how to get out of it. Okay?
Yeah,
there's not a rehab in America that can solve your problems and get you clean. Okay. I did get clean in rehab. I failed at every rehab I did.
Yeah. Why'd you get clean?
I got clean in a psychiatrist's office.
Trying to figure out that head of yours. Yeah, my goodness.
I had to figure out my own head. The thing is that you have to sit there and work through. Listen, there's things I've done and every addict has done and do every day that they're so ashamed of that you can't face yourself. And so you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper until you just don't have to. Nothing. You have to, no responsibility. You have to face no one. You're just another face walking by. So until you can face yourself and say, okay, I did this. How do I get past it? Okay. Then you could start to heal and start to bring yourself out of it. It was hard. And Kimberly, I still have trouble today.
I bet.
I mean, there's times when I have to call the chief or Lisa or somebody and talk to them because you've seen the kind of money I carry on me. I got probably $7,000 or $8,000 in my pocket right now.
Can I have a dime of it? I can have $1.
I'll give you $1. But the thing is that I can go out and get as high as I want, but I don't want to. Yeah. And I don't want to because I know I can do better. You understand?
Right.
With no hope. Everybody's putting all this money into nothing. So they send all this money out to everybody. Give them all this unemployment money. Nobody wants to work. I have very hard time hiring.
Right.
So, but every time somebody gets a check, the stores run out of TVs. I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken. They were out of chicken. I'm seriously. So we don't have chicken.
Because everyone's spending the unemployment money and all the federal support money, going out and blowing it on chicken. Yeah.
They're not paying their rent.
Exactly.
Okay. So we got 6 kids that everybody knows of right now. There's thousands of kids in houses right now in the city. I've seen it. I've been there. That are starving in their bedroom watching cartoons. You understand?
Because mom or whoever is spending all the money getting high. So So I don't know. So the 3 adults that were found dead on the front porch of this house, they had all done, obviously the same batch of drugs. Where'd they get it?
That's the great question. Although
they get it in the city. They get it. Of course,
they probably got it from their regular dealer.
They get it from the gangs that are obviously they're rallying for. Who has the upper hand in the city, right?
Pretty much that's what the violence is about.
Is that what it's about?
The violence is about this. Everybody that's out there that sells drugs wants to be a millionaire, and they can't be when you're moving in on their money, okay?
Yeah.
So every time you see an act of violence, it's a message being sent, okay? That's the way I see it. Is some of it non-related? Yeah, a percentage of it probably is. But you get these young kids playing cowboy out there knowing that there's no consequence for anything that you do. There's no laws anymore, Kimberly. There's nothing. So, listen, man, I got out at the wrong time.
Yeah, right. You did get out at the wrong time. So of the over 10 overdoses that happened over the weekend, half were fatal. And now we know that because... What's going on?
The chief's down there.
Oh, I thought Chad was going to bring him up.
Where the sign is, tell him.
I think Austin is going to. Yeah, Austin is going to go get him. So here we have, the fatals. We only know about 3 because they're the only ones that made the story. What happens to those kids now?
Well, right now if there's not a family member that'll take them, they're obviously a ward of the state. And so that they're on their birthday, okay, little party they're having. Now they're all broke up and crying. And that's what irked me about Rachel, okay?
Yeah.
Because that police officer got broke down. Okay, I don't know what it would do to me to see these. I tell everybody I don't like kids because I don't want them near me because the little creeps, they get under my skin, okay? Really.
Yeah, it's definitely trauma.
It is. It's to see them crying because mommy's gone or daddy's gone is more than I feel I can handle.
Yeah, you have to tell them too.
Yeah, and you're angry with the city. I mean, you're really angry.
I am super angry with the city. First of all, we have a mayor, okay, and this mayor has family members pushing this crap, okay, and then nobody's in jail, okay. Nobody's in jail. We have a 10-year-old girl with a gun, $50,000 in cash, and 10 pounds of cocaine. What is going on
in the house?
Yeah,
in the house.
Let me tell you something. If that was your kid, you know where you'd be?
Oh, I'd be in jail.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be in jail.
Okay.
Randy Cimino, Gates to Recovery. Oh, no doubt. I would absolutely be in jail. Timothy Granison is not in jail.
No.
Timothy Granison was in a suit walking into federal court yesterday with his attorney.
Yeah.
He didn't have the
didn't have the hat on.
He didn't have the hood over his head.
Well,
right?
it wasn't at work.
He wore a t-shirt and he wore it over his head. So I guess news media couldn't get pictures. You have a mayor, Randy, whose husband is he gone?
Apparently he's gone.
What happened to him?
I left, I guess.
He left?
I'll tell him. I'm going to call him.
The chief was here in the parking lot and he left. I don't know. You're going to call him on the. He's calling him on the phone now. I don't know.
Really?
I have no idea.
Ask him to pick up a pizza.
That's okay. We don't need him actually here. And that's okay. Actually, it's much better anyway. But here you are. You're the mayor of the city, and you have a situation where this is her husband.
Okay. Now she says that she did a separation with her husband. Okay.
They lived in the same house.
Okay. Well, let's go a step further because I want to know the answers to these questions. So what I did was I went down and tried to get a copy of the separation agreement that was never filed. So if it's never filed, I guess you're still not separated, right?
Right. So you actually went down to find the separation agreement. So you have a mayor whose husband is a member of a mid-level drug gang. We have Timothy Granison. My camera's out. Who is a mid-level drug dealer?
We could put him on the phone, couldn't we? Why don't we call him on his cell phone?
I'm over it.
You're over it?
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
We're good. But he's one that I haven't talked to in a year, so I'm all right with that. So the adults, were here. The mayor hasn't said a thing about it. The city hasn't said a thing about it, and the chief of police of Rochester hasn't said a thing about it.
Well, all the people you mentioned, okay, except for Bello, work for her, and she's got stand down orders to the police. What makes you think she's going to let anybody talk to the press? Our chief of the city should have had her face out there.
The interim chief.
Yeah, well, whatever.
But she's in way over her head.
Yeah.
Cynthia Harriet.
I think that she was
Sullivan, or whatever her name is.
She was picked because she could be controlled. Okay, we had a great chief that was doing a great job. There's no reason for him to have to go through what he went through. Again, following orders got him in a whole lot of trouble. Okay. Yeah. But where's our medical director? Where's our medical director? We have dead bodies. Where's he? Seriously. Like I said, if we had a cold out there and someone died from the cold, he'd be out there telling you to cover your face.
How many? So there were 10 ODs over the weekend. How many people, do you know how many people died of fatal overdoses?
Well, there was 5, but I don't have the numbers yet.
Like last month? I mean, our
Jim would have all the numbers for last month and everything else every month.
So the fatals are up?
Oh,
yeah.
This is the deal. Anytime you talk to any of these people that want everything to be flowers and balloons all the time, they'll tell you overdoses are down. Okay, no, reported overdoses are down because there's so much Narcan out there.
Right.
So when your buddy revives you, you shake it off and you go back and get high. That's what happens.
So what happened here that the 3 of them did drugs all at the same time? Is that a no-no?
Well, it happens. That's what they do. Listen, everybody was in a hurry to get their shot. You understand? So they came back, they fixed their dope. They're probably getting ready to get the kids downstairs. They wanted to get their high before they started dealing with the brats, So they did their shots at the same time and boom, boom, boom. They all there was nobody to help the other one.
For us non-heroin users, can you explain what is a Narcan? How do they use it?
Okay.
How does it work?
It works. It's a nasal spray. Okay. You have to insert it in the nose and spray it. And it's what it does is it erases the opiates from your system and pops you out. It's like an adrenaline shot.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
Have you ever been Narcan?
Me, I don't do heroin.
Oh, you don't do heroin. It's just cocaine.
Another non-heroin user.
Yes,
No,
yes.
but
John
I better,
H. was here yesterday.
Yes.
He's a non-heroin user.
Not heroin.
but
And
I
if you-
have a lot of friends that were and are, and I've buried close friends,
sure you
probably a
have.
dozen.
I'm
So
sure
it's
you have.
only with heroin that
Well,
works.
it's heroin and then it works. Yes, it has to be an opiate.
I will tell you that yesterday we had the picture of the police officer as she was holding one of the babies. Do we have that, Austin? There she is. There is the RPD officer, Randy. She is holding the baby in that. Look at that house on Grand Avenue.
Yeah.
You know, they're having a birthday party, but the house is a freaking wreck.
That house is in better shape than 99% of the houses in the city. You walk in there, Kimberly, you would not believe it.
Really?
Okay, there's barely running water in some places.
They have a lot of stuffed animals.
They have a lot, yeah.
And
yeah,
a 75-inch TV.
Yep.
With PlayStation.
If you'll
and
notice that
Xbox.
there's probably a G-Wagon in the driveway, okay? Because everybody can afford their BMWs. And their
I don't know what a G-Wagon is.
Well, because you can't afford one.
Okay. Because I work for a living.
Right.
And I don't do drugs, so I can't
afford one. And I do very well, and I can't afford one.
So there's that officer. She's in the city. She's responds to the call on Grand Avenue for the 3 fatal overdoses. And later on, she writes, "Today I went to work and I forgot to be the monster so many are convinced we are. Today I went to work and found 3 dead bodies on a porch. Nothing, noticing that their house looks so much like mine with kids' toys everywhere. I searched the rest of the house, praying to find it empty. But today I went to work and found 6 terrified children, 5 of which were hiding in the attic crying, saying, 'Is my mommy okay?'"
Right.
So she posts that on
Right.
Facebook, and it goes on. You can read it. It's on Twitter, I think.
Right. Well, it's everywhere right now.
It's everywhere. And of course, Rachel Barnhart posts, and we talked about this yesterday. This post is really outrageous. The officers are centering on themselves and want credit for being decent, compassionate human beings. Something that she doesn't know how to be, by the way.
Right. By the way, you're
Something
right.
that Rachel Barnhart does not know how to be is obviously decent and compassionate. And somehow in a family's massive tragedy, she takes a shot at those who want to end police brutality. And as I said yesterday, no, that's not what she's doing. She's talking about what an officer encounters every single day, which many of us have no idea what they're doing when they walk into a drug house and they find 3 adults dead and little babies lying around without anything to eat and basically, starving.
And there we go. They have to go with someone else, a stranger, because they don't know what's going on. And let me tell you something. I've been in the streets most of my life, okay? And I've got a pretty callous edge, man, but I got to tell you, that would have broke me. That would have broke me. For them police officers that had to do that, man, I see it a lot. I've been out there. Listen, man.
Because someone calls you from Gates to Recovery, Randy, and they say, "Hey, I need help." You go.
Yes, I go.
You go.
And I bring food and I pay rents and I do a lot of things, okay? That's coming out of my pocket and the chief's pocket and the sheriff's pocket and the district attorney's pocket. Okay?
And the county executive's pocket?
Nothing. It goes in his pocket, okay? That's the problem.
Money that you get from the federal government for...
They get it. He gives it to whoever for whatever, and I have no clue what they did with it, okay? He just gave a couple $100,000 to an organization in Irondequoit, okay? All right, this is the deal, man. Gates to Recovery helped him get elected, not them. Okay.
Right.
We stood by him and helped him against our better judgment because we're all Republicans. Okay. Let's start with that. But we did because he made promises that I have on tape. Okay.
Adam Bello made you promises about what help you would receive.
I'm going to do this, and this for the opiate crisis. I'm going to help stop this madness. And he has done zero. Yes. Wait a minute. He hired some people, but what do they do? I don't know. What do they do?
What do they do? I don't know.
Nothing.
Collect a paycheck.
And so there is money coming in for the opiate crisis.
There is. Johnson & Johnson is about to give up like $2.5 million, and I want to know where that's going to go. And I'm going to be a pain in the neck to find out where it goes.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what.
Because
we have a district attorney that reaches in her purse and hands us money to help people. All the police chiefs do it. The sheriffs does it. Okay. They give me cash out of their pocket. This isn't money from their department. This is money out of their personal pocket to help these people get paid for the prescriptions, buy food. We give away, Gates to Recovery gave away almost 2,000 turkeys. I mean, who do you think paid for that? Me and the chief.
Yeah.
It's like $6,000, man.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you.
So I'm just saying that when is our our leadership going to step up and do something besides take a gold shovel and dig something up at the zoo? Okay, because seriously, that made me really mad.
I know. I can see it does. I mean, I talked to Randy yesterday, Tom, on the phone, and he was in a rage over this OD situation. Dave says,
Randy, what's your opinion on officers? I mean, social media is like the wild, wild west, but what's your opinion on officers? And I think maybe this is part of Rachel's problem. I mean, are they just doing their job? What's the part of social media in terms of them reporting the news?
Well,
the officers
do their best. They're barred from saying much to the press.
Right.
Okay?
That's my point.
We have that Detective Umbrero. I absolutely love
Umbrino.
I think he's one of the greatest guys out there, and he cares more than anybody knows.
Yeah.
And this is the thing.
He's the mouthpiece for RPD.
But he's losing, man. And he's telling everybody. You can see it in his eyes. He's like, please, you guys, we got to do something here, man.
Right. But as these younger officers come on the force now, and they're all social media savvy,
right?
How do we tell them that your First Amendment right, because you're a police officer,
they'll get fired.
It's different than everybody else.
They shouldn't be told that. And by the way, did anybody know about the law that just was signed by our wonderful lawmakers that now they got 10 days? That's why no one's going to tell on anybody. They got 10 days to turn over everybody's name in their discovery packet. So if let's say you're a witness to a homicide, okay, they're going to know about it within 10 days, your name.
Wow.
So the people that you're going to testify against is going to know well in advance before you make it or not make it to the courtroom. That's dangerous. Dangerous. That could cost you your life.
That's dangerous.
And that's going to cost the police and the district attorney all their cases.
Is that true?
It's true. It's absolutely true.
It's like the elder parole
and look
thing.
At this.
It's
What's this guy's name that took Robach's place there? Jeremy Cooney.
Oh, yeah.
He is as dumb as a freaking goldfish. I swear to God. The guy doesn't know his ass from his elbow. He's sitting there smiling at everybody. Oh, we're almost all the way done with the police. Yeah. So what are you going to do when they reach in your pocket? Okay. Because that's what's going to happen.
Right.
All these people, I go down. Listen, I had my blowhorn. Okay. When BLM attacked me down on Plymouth Avenue. And I'm screaming. That's why my voice is permanently like this. I was screaming so loud I threw the blowhorn down.
No, I hear you, right?
Because all it was about is how much you hate the police.
Right.
It's not about, listen, man, our mayor knows exactly what she's doing. First thing she did, first order of business, separating white, black, and brown. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
Let's separate everybody and make them at war. Okay. And they won't be watching me steal all their money and sell dope to all these other people. So,
right. Exactly.
What are you really doing by separating us? And what are we going to get done by being against each other?
Right.
Are we solving anything?
So, here we have the violence that's going on. There was another shooting last night. I think it was on the northeast side over on Joseph Avenue. There was the shooting at Walmart on Hudson Avenue. There were like 5 other shootings over the weekend. Is it all drug related? Are they vying for turf?
For the most part, I think for like 90% of it's drug related stuff, or friends of the drug dealers that are stepping up for their place in line. You know what I mean? Everybody's looking for a position.
Well, now that the mayor's husband's out of the way,
he's not out of the way. If you think that he's still not running out of the way, are you kidding me? He's out of jail, right?
Well,
he's not in jail.
Do you think that if you have,
who's his boss? Is he the head guy?
I'm guessing. Listen, they have a very big, strong family. I'm going to tell you that right now. And every one of them is dangerous. Okay, that's just the way it is.
No, I don't doubt it at all.
I've been in jail with quite a few of them. Trust me when I tell you, I know the whole family.
Yeah.
I want to lean towards the mayor just purposely turned a blind eye, but you can't when there's a child involved left in a house like that. Because I'm going to tell you something, Kimberly. If I knew there was 10 pounds of cocaine and $50,000 in that house, that little kid would have been tied up face down in the corner. Okay.
It's a horrible thing, right?
It is. That's $50,000 we're talking about, and a lot of cocaine.
And not to mention that he took her on a drug deal and was doing a drug deal in the backseat of a car with a guy who had already been shot at by a rival drug dealer.
If you think for a minute the state police and the U.S. Marshals don't have tapes of everything. So our mayor should be very nervous, because I wouldn't doubt for a minute that she's on them tapes.
She's on the wire. We know that for a fact.
Okay, well, there we go.
She's on the wire. But, people always say, how do you get it to stop? But, I don't think you're ever going to stop the drugs from coming in. They're coming in at the southern border, right?
No.
They're coming in and they're traveling all the way up.
What you can
from the cartels.
What you can stop is first of all, if someone took an interest, okay, most of these guys out there that are pushing to become drug dealers because there's no hope to have a decent job doing anything. Nobody's setting anything up for them. If we're giving money away, houses and cars and money. Why don't we set up some programs and set up some jobs where someone could have a retirement and something to look forward to, and maybe they'll go that way, because you'll get a lot more go that way than you think. I've been there with guys that if they could just get a break. My company, I employ ex-addicts and ex-cons, okay? Right now I've got about 22 guys. Out of them 22 guys, 7 of them are on parole.
You're a trustworthy guy. You're trusting.
I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody. Yeah. Okay, let's start with that. I watch them closer than you could ever think.
So you tell them, hey, listen, you got one shot. You show up, you do your job, right?
Show up, you do your job. Take your urine test when I bring them, which could be every day, could be once a week, whatever. And I've got straight people watching every move. Nobody gets keys to the house or credit cards or anything like that.
Right.
But they have a job and they work very hard. You'd be amazed at the skilled craftsmen that are stuck in a rut with a drug problem and nowhere to go. And they know how I feel about the drug thing. They jump in, they help me, they show up at my events, they come to all my meetings. They do this with me. So I've had to fire guys. Listen, I've had to fire guys. I've had to turn guys over to the police. Trust me, I got no problem with it, man.
I bet. So let me ask you, the drugs that were bad that killed the 5 people over the weekend, and obviously, 5 other people managed to survive out of the 10 ODs that we know of, right?
Right.
Is there more of this drug out on the street?
Of course there is. That's why over the time I'm going to say 72 hours from the time the first one came up before a new batch comes in, which will either be weaker or stronger. I mean, seriously, it's
where's it coming from?
Great question. I wish I could answer these questions, but them are questions I can't, because they make them. Listen, man, you got guys that maybe made it to 9th grade in their basement mixing up dope. It's not pharmaceutical grade stuff. I'm going to tell you that right now. You don't know what's in it. I mean, seriously.
That's the truth. I mean, it's like, it's sort of like you always said, the guys that are mixing up meth. I mean, that's dangerous, because you could blow up an entire block.
How many guys did you see catch on fire in their vehicles, shaking up a batch of meth? I mean,
because it's all flammable liquid that
these guys aren't chemists, man.
They're not.
Somebody teaches them and they think that everything's going to be the same every time.
And it's not.
The product changes from day to day.
The product does change. And of course, they want to defund the police. They want police to stand down. And I think that, what do they call them? The squad. AOC, Rashida Tlaib, those of that ilk. I think AOC said that the violence is being caused by, and wait for it, Randy, because I've got it on tape, that the violence that we're seeing in Chicago, I think there were 80 people, 75 people that were shot over the weekend.
Wow.
And I think 9 of those were fatal. You see this going on in primarily Democratic ruled cities, right, where they have defunded or had the police stand down, as we're seeing here in Rochester, New York, where the police are standing down. And you have, AOC on an interview saying, and I quote, that the violence is being caused by hysteria. I don't know what that means, but Austin, can you roll that video?
Seeing these headlines about percentage increases. Now, I want to say that any amount of harm is unacceptable and too much. But I also want to make sure that this hysteria, that this doesn't drive a hysteria, and that we look at these numbers in context so that we can make responsible decisions about what to allocate in that context.
Hysteria. That the violence is being driven by hysteria. I don't even know what that means.
Every time she opens her mouth, I just get Charlie Brown's school teacher. I get nothing on that. Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Rashida Tlaib said today that basically she wants the good thing is coming is that there's going to be no policing. That is what Rashida Tlaib said.
Of course.
I mean, that's a frightening thing. What is that?
I just got this from Todd Baxter.
Oh, what is that? I don't even. You want to read it? You want to read it?
And
County Heroin
and now
Task
the news.
Force. Okay, I don't know who keeps calling me. Okay, the Monroe County Heroin Task Force, MCHTF, in collaboration with Sandra Dorley and our partners fighting the opiate epidemic, are putting a community on warning. An extraordinary number of fatal overdoses have occurred in our community. 7 deaths within 48 hours. Okay, there it is. They finally put this out.
Seven deaths now.
So there's
7.
There's 2 we haven't heard of. Yet.
There's 2 we haven't heard of because the media is not doing their job, which is what we've been saying here on Kimberly's Revolution on the We the People podcast network for a number of months now. The media is not doing their job. We thought yesterday, oh, there's just 3, like 3's too many. It's almost like, and with babies in the house. And then we find out there were 5, and now there are 7 fatal ODs because of whatever is out on the street. And the violence is happening because it's a turf war on whose corner, who is going to sell these bad drugs.
That's right.
And this is what we have.
One thing I gotta say, I gotta be honest with you, not for nothing, but again, look at who's trying to get the word out is the police. Okay, it's the police that's trying to get the word out.
Not BLM to say,
No.
Black lives in the city.
Not the mayor's office.
Not to, free the people rock, right? Not the mayor's office, not Mendoza.
No, not Mendoza, not Antebello, not anybody.
This guy gets more phone calls than a 7-Eleven looking for pizza.
I'm sorry.
You have ADD.
I don't.
You got to put that phone away.
You don't understand. These are people that need something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, we just need you to be here.
I'm here.
No,
I'm
I
here.
know you're
It's
right.
just that
So-
it kills me that was a great text coming from Todd because I talked with him this morning. He was doing his best. He's not even in town. He's doing this from Mississippi or wherever he is.
Yeah.
Because he's doing some training thing or whatever. But at least he's trying from out of town
Mhm.
to make this wrong right. And he's got to go against. Honestly, he's got to go against his own people.
Right.
When
To
does
do
this?
this,
When does a state of emergency get declared?
it should have after the first 3.
I mean, seriously,
All at once. When you find 3 dead bodies all at once, that's
Right.
a problem.
Right.
When do you just start shutting everything down? When do you go to curfews and start shutting everything down? And
Nobody abides by
shaking-
curfews because
Right.
the police can't stop you.
Well,
when do you
first off,
start shaking these people down?
the
Should.
thing is the thing that happened out at the Hudson Avenue Walmart, that's been going on for weeks. Did anyone know about that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think John H. said it yesterday that it's not the first time they've had a big to-do out there, but it used to be over, and we said this yesterday on the Kimberly's Revolution podcast, it used to happen at the Bathtub Billy's
Right,
parking lot
right.
until
Remember that?
until they started
stood up and stopped it.
until they, and then the shots were fired and people were getting shot, and then they moved over. It's like whack-a-mole. They go from one location to another location. But this has been happening at that Hudson Avenue Walmart. This wasn't the first weekend that's been occurring there.
Right.
This is just the weekend where people got hurt with gunfire, right? And we
right.
showed the videos yesterday.
That stuff starts off with car races. That Fast and Furious crap starts up. These guys
Sure.
see the movie, they want to go there and
Right.
go crazy in their
Yeah.
cars.
They
You know
got
what?
cool. They got
That's
cool.
the least
they
of our
got cool
problems.
cars.
And we had the video yesterday, but did you know there was drone video? One
Yeah.
of those guys
I
in
see
the
that.
crowd had a drone. They
Nice.
had it was the craziest
We don't
thing.
have
They had
that, Kimberly.
We don't have a drone. We need to get a drone though.
We need a drone.
We do. It's just write another check, just Tom.
But you know what? You'll never find nothing because you guys are too late. You got to go to bed at a decent hour. So how are you going to catch anything on the drone?
Someone wants to know: do you think it was a targeted OD? Like they
No.
sold
No.
they sold the drugs knowing they were
No, absolutely not. Not 3 in a row, and then
Yeah.
not 2 more right behind it, and
Yeah.
then 2 more behind that. I doubt
Yeah,
it.
the
You
target's
got-
money. That's
the-
what
yeah, the target
is.
is-
Well, it'll be some girl that the husband's been stalking. She gets, and maybe if they found her and her new boyfriend, maybe somebody gave a hot bag, but it doesn't appear to be anything like that.
right. So it's
So
just,
that's a thing. Somebody gets a
It
hot
could
bag.
be. It could be. Let me tell you something. These days, that's becoming more of a thing.
I'd
You
rather
wanna-
just not know anything, Randy. It just makes my life a lot easier.
I got to tell you the truth. There's a world out there. that
There
you guys
is.
would
I
not,
can imagine.
Would seriously, we talk about it from this room, but I'll tell you what, it would scare you right out of your wits.
It already does.
And seriously,
You-
it's
you
really
scare me.
like that. Don't I shouldn't scare you, man. I'm old and soft, man. And I'll tell you what.
I think
I'm a little nervous.
I don't think you're either of those things. But you had mentioned earlier that the house that these kids were found in, that were upstairs crying, and mommy and daddy and a
That
friend.
house
were-
was clean compared to some.
yeah.
People wash their clothes in it. They fill the bathtub with water and soak them, rinse them, and wear them. You understand? This is horrible what our city is right now. I go out there and I have to do work in a lot of these homes. And when you walk in there, you're just like, oh, it ain't all the money in the world ain't worth this, man.
Right.
I stopped doing work in the city because of that.
I mean, it is the craziest thing.
It is. No one wants to work in our city because for so many reasons, but two of the reasons are because you're not welcome. You understand?
Right.
You're not welcome.
And you're not welcome because of the divide that certain individuals have made in the city.
Right.
Right.
If you own a property, Kimberly, and you hire me to go there, they're not going to let me have access. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about this for a second. 10 more states ended the extra unemployment over the weekend.
Good for them.
They joined 12
It's about
others
time.
that had opted out of that extra $300 federal. Florida, Ohio, Texas are just, some of the few. The leading causes of worker shortage, obviously, is the extra unemployment that states are getting.
You can't blame the people either. I mean,
Right.
it's
So
just common sense. If you're
I have
making
to
more
pay
money,
cash for my workers every day, or they won't work.
you have to
because
pay
they're-
them cash.
I do. And that's why I have freaking $5,000 on me, because I have to go pay these guys in cash every single day, or they won't work. They don't want to give up their benefits. They all tell you, hey, man, this is going to be over in September, man. I want to go on the books. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I got to pay these guys every day. Every day they
Right.
want to get their money.
yeah, they're double dipping.
So 10
they're
more
double
states
dipping.
ended the extra, and then 4 more are ending in July, and then by September,
We're supposed to be out. in
the extra
September.
money ends.
Well, New York will be last.
I'm
Of course
sure.
it'll be last.
Yeah. But guys like you have a hard time finding, guys to
listen.
work in your construction business.
Right. But the upside is the guys I'm getting are on parole and coming out of rehabs, and they want to work. They've been sitting too long. And you know what? They want to empty the jails. And I'll tell you something. There's a way to do bail reform and jail reform without doing it the way they did it, giving away the whole house. It could be beneficial to the community if they did it the right way, but no one wants to sit down and think.
Right.
Just
Right.
like, let's let them out,
Right.
man. You know what I mean?
Let everyone out.
That's wrong.
So how many times did you try to get clean out of all the years? You said you've been
Probably
arrested
100 times anyway.
100 times.
At least 100 times.
Over
and I've been in every rehab you could think of.
Every rehab.
Oasis is got a monopoly on New York.
Arrested so many times. You were stealing stuff, right? To get.
Well, 1,000 a day, you can't just find that laying around. So you have to steal quite a bit.
So
of
that was your habit. Your habit was you were doing $1,000 of drugs. That was that to feed your habit.
to feed my habit.
That's
and
the
to
amount
feed
of
myself.
cocaine you
I'd have
needed.
to have enough money. I'd have to have $1,000 a day to eat, have
Crazy.
a vehicle to drive, and a place to stay.
About 18 years ago, I lost a lawn sprinkler in my
Probably
side
took
yard.
it. I probably took it.
I mean, I do live in Chi-Li.
I might still have it. I was living in Gates then. That's why I had so many headaches with Jim.
Let me just ask you: did you ever take things to pawn shops?
Of course.
There's my
Because you know that
sprinkler.
Don't
the
you
whole
know I
pawn
got
shop-
I got a bid because of that, Kimberly. One of my last bids was okay. So the pawn shop on Rochester Pawnbrokers. Okay,
Right.
I was there when they got raided, and it was like
I remember that.
so. I grabbed. They had a table with all cash on it, probably I don't know, 100 grand or better. So I grabbed a 20,000 stack and put it in my pants, and they said, "Not him, you out," because I was in my kitchen whites. I said, "I just dropped off the sandwiches, you out," right? So they kicked me out, but then they realized they shouldn't have kicked me
You
out.
didn't.
Right.
You didn't grab the signed Elvis
It
guitar
was
on
already
your
gone.
way out.
Ah, yeah, a junkie probably signed it, but I ended up doing 3 years because of that. Because all the guys that were involved in that, okay, and I really wasn't. I sold stuff to them before, but I wasn't buying. You know,
Right.
they pointed me out, said I was the mastermind of that crap. I'm like, serious, dude, I'm a crackhead. Are you out of your mind?
Right.
But I ended up doing 3 years because of some washers and dryers that were taken from Lowe's or Home Depot.
Right.
This was my fight in court, why I pretty much won. So it was a setup. It was a sting by the sheriff's department. And so they were giving them to one guy, Chris Piscani, the biggest rat I've ever known. Okay. And he was selling them.
It's a rat.
He's sleeping with the fishes.
I know.
Very well could be right now with the guys he told on. But so loss prevention would provide him these washers and dryers. Okay. And then he would go sell them and they would track them. That's how they found
Wow.
out how it is.
That's
So my
how you do it.
argument in court was, well, loss prevention gave them to him and they're an agent of the store, correct? They said, yes. I said, okay, they gave them to him. So where did they become stolen property? Okay. That's how I won the case because they were never stolen property after all.
Smart attorney.
Attorney my ass. I was fighting for my life.
I know. So what was I mean, some of your bad moments. Tell us
some of my bad moments.
some of your
when you find yourself homeless and your third wife takes your car and you're stuck in the city at 1 o'clock in the morning with nowhere to go and no money in your pocket,
Mhm.
and you have a real couple hours to think about what you're really doing.
Yeah.
You know, times when I've gone to jail and been facing 15 or 20 years, although it didn't play out that way in the end. That's what you're facing, and you're coming off of a 6-month drug binge, and everything seems to be lost.
Let me ask you a question.
None of your
Randy.
family members will talk to you. I mean,
Right. I mean,
Let me ask you a question. Did you ever consider yourself a victim in all this?
No,
Never once.
No,
That the
I've
system,
thought
for
about
some
suicide.
reason, let you down.
the system did let me down.
Okay.
I never blamed the system for letting me down. Actually, the system did everything it could to bring me back up, and that's why I'm standing here today. Because if it wasn't for the system, the way it was, the DA, the police, and everybody else able to stop me temporarily for a couple months. You know what I'm saying? That time out in jail between bail and your first appearance, to get me clean enough to think about, man, what are you doing? That's I would never make it. I would never made it to where I'm at. So
I just wonder, you hear stories of addicts who are, are so sick that they can't. But again, you didn't use heroin. Cocaine, was it crack or was it cocaine?
It was freebase to start. First, it was cocaine. I was sniffing.
It was like a Richard Pryor thing.
And then it went to freebase. Yeah. And then it went to crack.
So were you selling it or were you just using? You never sold.
I can't sell. I tried. I could take my big batch of money and buy a big bunch, say I'm going to sell it. Nothing gets sold.
Yeah.
The girls come in. How much you want? Take your clothes off. How much you want?
Right.
All of a sudden, she lives there now. You know what I mean?
Everybody's got needs.
So how many times you've been married?
It's gonna be 6 and in September.
Are you counting on the phone over there? Are you counting how many
Every
wives?
one of his ex-wives called him.
All the ex-wives are on the phone.
It's one of my customers that refuses to leave me alone.
Oh, okay. Well, you're just telling we're almost. So, the woman you have now, was she also a recovering addict?
She was not. She's never had a drug problem in her life. Then she doesn't really know me as a drug addict and can't get it. She doesn't get it. She follows what I do, but she doesn't get it. Here's
what I'm going to ask you, because I think you and I have had it out about this before.
Okay.
On when you called the radio station, not recently,
right.
but
a while ago.
I think probably talking about one of your many arrests,
right?
On the radio, and I always say that anyone that hooks up with a recovering addict is just setting themselves up for heartbreak. Because eventually,
not always. Okay.
Eventually, not always, someone's going to fall off the wagon.
Maybe. Okay.
But not in your case.
In my case, I've over the last 9 years, I've come very close more than once.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I haven't, and I have been. I'm grateful for that. But
I'm grateful for that.
It boils down to this, Kimberly. When a person goes to get clean, it's all dependent on what you want. And listen, I've always had the ability, no matter what it is I want money, I get money. I want a wife, I get a wife.
You're a hustler.
I did marry a hooker once. You believe that?
Yeah,
I swear to God.
Did you marry a hooker?
I can believe that.
It didn't work out, but I'm saying, everybody asked me, why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
She did all the things I like to do.
She did drugs.
Yeah.
She had sex.
Right.
Sounds like a perfect relationship.
It was great for about 3 months.
What happened?
Well, I decided that was not the place for me, so I had to
Where
go.
was she hooking? Was she just?
She was actually City Rochester. She was well known out here. Then she moved to Watertown, got clean, and I met her while I was coming out of prison, and I hooked back up with her, and she got dirty, and I couldn't do it, so I had to leave.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's a fascinating story.
Are you ever going to write a book?
Yeah, you should write a book.
It's hard to think about this stuff sometimes.
Well, no, you pay somebody to write a book.
Right,
you don't actually write it.
But she wasn't like, was she like, she wasn't like on the street hooking though, right?
At one point she was.
At one point she was. Yeah.
At one point she was. I actually know a good handful of people that got clean that are very successful.
Handful.
Right now. A handful. Yeah. Out of the millions that are dirty. But I'll tell you what, we're losing, man. Out of the people that I've helped over the last, let's say 5 years, four are still clean.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why so
because
few?
The system sucks and the system doesn't work as far as rehabilitation goes. It doesn't work. And you took the power away from the judges. So
That's crazy.
Drug court is almost empty right now. Okay?
So after you said all that, what gets you up in the morning to help that next guy?
I saved 4 lives. I saved 4 lives, and if I could save one, and if maybe
Yeah,
that's your son or daughter,
Yeah.
it's worth saving, man.
So that 5th one is the one that drives you.
And the 6th and the 7th, and
Yeah.
anyone that I could save, man. Listen, if I could get them just
Yeah.
okay clean,
It's
just so
amazing.
that they could survive and maybe just live.
It's an
Okay, I don't
amazing
want
story.
anybody to die.
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the front lines. Seriously.
It sucks sometimes. It really does, and I feel like I'm failing all the time.
Yeah.
But I have so much to pay
Well, it
back.
sounds like that's true. You
What
It
was
is
the
you.
hooker's name?
Julie.
Candy.
I don't
Should
know.
have said
They like-
Kimberly, right?
Kimberly.
Was that her
No.
real name, Julie?
Julie. Yeah.
What was her walk-in name? Julie.
Julie.
Oh,
Julie.
okay.
She was just used
She did.
used her real name.
Yeah.
So you figure you help these people, and then you see these seven now ODs, not
7.
5, not 3, but 7 fatals that happened over the weekend, and these are 7 souls that you couldn't help. That I know that eats at you because you
Oh,
were
I-
angry.
yeah, I
yesterday.
can see that.
It eats me in a big way, and
Yeah.
and I got to tell you, this is what bothers me. I don't know if I was cursed, and that's why I try to stay out of the city with the ability to feel people's pain, and it bothers me. And these kids made me cry, and I don't cry, okay, but this broke me down. I'm looking at these 6 kids, and I'm like, really?
Mhm.
Seriously, man, can't we do something? And then we got a county executive with a gold shovel in his hand, okay? Turning at the zoo. We've got a mayor that's selling dope, or her family members are, and she could stop it or at least apologize for it, and we get nothing.
You get nothing.
You know,
you get
we
nothing.
we got an interim chief that I don't know what she does. I don't know what she does.
She does nothing but send out Captain Frank Umbrino to do her dirty work. That's what she does.
He's pretty much the chief, and you know what?
He is.
Have you noticed how every time you see him, he's a little more beat down and a little more beat down, and
You
he's
be
like,
too, right?
yeah.
Yeah, right.
All right,
you'd
Randy.
You'd be too.
What's the plan?
Well,
What-
the plan-
I mean, seriously, what's the action? What's the plan? I mean, everybody just keeps talking and talking.
The
and
plan is
Right.
he hopes to get some of that money
I
so
mean,
that he can
on
help
the
more
front-
people, right?
on
I
the
mean,
I
front
do.
lines, what's the plan? I mean, we're not talking about money that's going to go in somebody's buddy's pocket.
man, I need,
What's the
money
front
needs to
line?
go.
What does it need?
The idea is this: one of the things we need big time is beds. Okay, we need beds, and we need mental health. We don't need rehabilitation where we sit around with 10 people and say, "Hi, my name is Randy. I like cocaine." Okay, because by the time we get all the way around, okay, I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Okay, really? What do we do today?
There's no help.
There's no help.
There's no help.
We need to sit one-on-one with therapists. We need to work through our issues. We need to laugh and cry and get pissed and work through it and be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I can do this, man. And you can, because if I could do it, anybody can.
So we don't need counselors.
No,
We need doctors.
we need doctors. We need
We
mental
need
health
people-
we need
specialists.
people that are trained
Yes.
medical psychological doctors
is.
that understand where these soft spots are.
Right.
But we
to
always
get to
say
these
too,
people.
you can get to these people, but they have to want to get clean themselves.
I mean,
right? You're not
instead
going to
of-
help. You're not going to force someone to.
You can't
So-
force anyone. You can't.
Instead of giving
15
some
years ago, someone said you're going to get clean, Randy Cimino.
And I told them right there. Okay. And I did what I wanted to do.
instead of paying some administrator $80,000-$90,000 a year to do
Right.
nothing, why don't we pay somebody that's actually qualified,
Correct.
put them on the front lines and get some actual work done here?
Right.
Well,
and
now
you
you're-
could get a lot done.
I mean,
Would you stop that thinking,
pay somebody
for a second?
No, shame on you.
pay, some,
Randy? Seriously, Adam,
Seriously.
pay
you know,
somebody 150 grand that actually knows what they're doing.
why don't you tell the county executive that?
Well, he's
Right.
done more thinking in the last hour than the county executive done since he's been hired for this job.
It's a shame,
And I'm
isn't it?
very upset about it. And I'm telling you right now, keep your eyes open, because if I don't get some help, I'm going to take every news clip I have from him promising to help me, and I'm going to rent some commercial space. I'm tired of spending money on nothing. And you know what? If I'm going to spend my own money, I'm going to get some satisfaction out of it.
Well, I hope you advertise with us.
Yes, please.
Why wouldn't I?
Kimberly's Revolution. We have.
Can you say them words on there?
We have.
Sure.
We have people that
We can
support
say
us.
anything you want.
We have people that support us. Randy Cimino, Gates to Recovery. We appreciate you.
Thank
We
you guys
appreciate
for
what you're
having me.
doing. You're on the
Thank you,
street.
sir.
It's Ross.
You're hiring
Thank you.
parolees. You're hiring recovering addicts. We appreciate what you do every single day, and glad that you could make it here and that you weren't scared.
I'm not scared.
I was a little scared.
You're
Come on,
always
man.
scared.
Be scared
So,
if they lock us in a room and call it a cell. Then you could be scared.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate the other guests couldn't join us, but I expected no less. I will say that
He was here, and he would have came in. And you know what?
Anyway.
He's in a unique situation.
We'll
and
give
he
him
has
the
a hard
benefit
time.
of the doubt.
We'll give him
I would
the-
appreciate if you would. You know why? Because I've been following him from the beginning, and he's brought me where I am today.
I'm so glad.
Yeah,
I am.
he's
I know.
serious.
Maybe another time.
Maybe another time.
Maybe another time.
And I got to tell you, he loves you for some reason. He said something about going to your house for a pool party or something. I don't know
Yeah,
what the
he
hell he was
did.
talking
Yeah,
about. He
there's-
said you were an amazing person.
And then there's that.
There were several people that came to my house for pool parties.
What I'm
and
saying
I've
is
yet
that
to hear from
he,
them.
He likes what you do, and he likes you.
I know.
So,
That's
there
very
it
Well,
is.
good.
Randy,
I
that's
was-
one thing you and I have in common. Neither of us have ever been invited to Kimberly's house for a pool
I don't
party.
think we ever will be.
Yes,
Now,
you will.
I'm okay with that. Who's
For
going to
the-
bring the drugs?
for-
Probably me, right?
No
Right.
drugs, drug free. It is Kimberly's revolution. We thank you, Randy Cimino, for being here.
Absolutely.
Just Tom, we're always thankful to you. Tomorrow, 4:00. It is the regular Kimberly's
show.
The big show, 4:00.
With Mr. Hummel
That's right, Chad Hummel.
coming up today.
Right. We'll see you, Randy.
Take care.
All right.
Thank
we'll
you,
see
Randy. Yeah, coming up today on the We the People podcast network
All right.
at 4:00 is Got Freedom with Chad Hummel. And then at 6:00 is Real Talk with Matt Fritz.
Nice.
So we're getting a little lineup put together here Mondays and Tuesdays. Be there.
All right.
You know,
Very good.
Go
as-
and follow the network page, and God bless. Be kind to others.
Rejuvenate, restore, refresh, and heal. At Fantuzzo Acupuncture, we seek to help achieve effective health and wellness in an elegant spa-like atmosphere. Fantuzzo Acupuncture specializes in traditional acupuncture, cosmetic anti-aging acupuncture, acupressure, cupping, CBD topical creams, and more. Approach healthcare holistically. Visit fantuzzoacupuncture.com to book online today. fantuzzoacupuncture.com.
From attic to basement, we're here for you. It's quality service in all we do. Call Taylor. 500 help.